What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Blunt Guy. Hey! And today we are here with another Berserk read through. Today we will be reading chapter 27, or the title of this chapter. For you guys who are reading this through like the books, this is Assassin Chapter 4. Yeah. So yeah, before we get into the chapter though, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the chapter, your thoughts on the read through, or just your thoughts on Berserk in general. Also follow me on Twitch so you could catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and make sure you join the Discord and be a part of the community, where you can submit content to me. If it's One Piece content, I'll do a reaction stream on it. If it's other content, I'll probably react to it on like a chill stream or something. But make sure you become part of the Discord. Anyway, let's get into this chapter. All right, so this is, like I said, chapter 27th, or this is the 27th chapter chronologically, if you're reading this on like a manga app or something. Because the manga's a little weird, right? Like it goes like the app I'm using, it does like alphabets like A0, B0, C0, whatever, and then eventually it kind of like reboots to 1, 2, 3. So this is the 27th chapter, right? And the title of this chapter is Berserk Assassin Chapter 4. Right, Assassin Chapter 4. All right, so we start off with where we left off, with Guts killing the, what's his name? Count Julius's son. He killed Count Julius, and now he's in the middle of killing Count Julius's son. He has his sword pierced through the young child's chest. Julius came in at the end of the last chapter as Guts was killing Count Julius, after Gus was pretty much ordered from Griffith to assassinate Count Julius, because Griffith he discovered that Count Julius was the one who tried to kill him, right? Tried to assassinate Griffith. So this is more like a strike back or a revenge, right? And I don't necessarily want to say revenge, because it's like, bro, if you got somebody out there trying to kill you, maybe it's the smart thing to do to get them first, right? So, you could say it's more precaution, right? It's more precaution. But yeah, so Guts just stabbed the young nobleman, Count Julius's son, and Guts seems pretty surprised about this. Like it's not like he was trying to kill the kid. I don't think he wanted to kill the kid. He's just, the kid became a witness. The kid became a witness, so I was like, hey, if I'm gonna succeed at this assassination, I can't leave witnesses. So yeah, the young man's body like slides down the wall. You see the wall, or you see the blood on the wall where the kid was stabbed at. All right, so now we get a cover page with Guts holding his sword in the young man's chest. It says Assassin Chapter 4. So Guts is standing back, and the kid is still alive. The young boy is still alive, surprisingly. And he says, oh, and he's like reaching his hand out towards Guts. You see tears in the kid's eyes, bro. bro. That's sad, bro. That's sad. Yo, he was just trying to talk to his pops, right? Like he was just going to check on his pops or whatever. He became a victim, man. And then he's reaching out his hand and shaking, and Guts grabs his hand and Guts says, "Hey, damn Guts, damn Guts." It's tragic, man. It's tragic. It's tough, a tough line to work to be in. So we see the kid coughing up blood, trying to speak, but can't really say much. And he's like crying. And Guts tries to say something. He said, huh, so he could get out. And then the kid eventually, his hand falls out from Guts' hand, and I guess he succumbs to death. Guts is looking at this kid who finally succumbed to death, and he's like shocked at himself. I think Guts is this is like one of them situations that's gonna be hard for Guts, because it's like he's not trying to kill innocent people. As far as I know, Guts never seemed like the type, like he might not save you if you're innocent. He might not go out his way to save you. But at the same time, he doesn't seem like one to go killing innocent people. That's never been his prerogative, at least from what I've seen of him. And this is like into the future. So if in the future he's like that, in the past, I think he was even more or less, what's the word? He was less savage, I guess, back then than he was now, because he went through a little less, you could say. So this seems like at a point where you could say he had more of a conscience going for him. But even now, even in the present, at least where we started, right? Like the current time where we started earlier in the series, Guts, he might have been a little savage, but he wasn't like kill innocent people savage. You know what I mean? Like he never seemed like he would kill somebody innocent, especially for no reason. Like it's one thing if maybe they got possessed or something. He might kill them if it's like it was me or you, me or you survival type situation. Then he might kill somebody, that may not necessarily normally be like who may normally be innocent, but this ain't one of them times. Like the young man was just wrong place, wrong time. And Guts had to do what he had to do. So in a way, yes, it was kind of Guts having to do what he had to do. But it's like this is going way heavy on Guts. I'm sure this is probably going way heavy on Guts. It already seems like it's weighing heavy right now. So Guts like puts his hand over his mouth in shock, and two guards are coming up the stairway, and they say, "What disturbance is this? Is anything the matter, Highness?" Oh boy, they're like right by Guts as well, so they might see Guts. They might see him. And so the guards, they are alerted to Guts's presence and the fact that he just killed the young master. And they have shocked faces, and they say, "Master Adonis, intruder." And Guts off the rip attacks, and he slashes both the guards. Hey, see now the guards, it is what it is, man. That's what happened when you get that type of job, guard duty. You have to protect, you have to combat intruders, which puts your life at risk, but the young Adonis, the kid Adonis, I mean, bro, he was just an innocent bystander, man. He was just an innocent bystander. Guts put his little hood back on, so I guess, any more guards wouldn't notice him running away. And we see guards going out through the castle, going up the steps, and the old servant of Count Julius, he says, "What happened? What's this uproar?" And one of the guards said, "A robbery? A robbery? A robber broke into His Highness' chamber." And then the old guy says, "What? Say what?" All right, so they just think it's like a robbery, which actually plays well into the assassination attempt, right? Because if they think it's a robber, they won't think it's an assassin, because if they think it's an assassin, then they're going to be like, well, somebody had to hire said assassin to kill Count Julius and his son, right? Which means they're going to have to start questioning who could potentially want to kill Count Julius, which could actually come back on Griffith, because then they could be like, well, Griffith almost got assassinated. Count Julius did get assassinated. So, well, that's if they know that Griffith almost was assassinated. Because they could be like, if they know Griffith was, somebody attempted to assassinate Griffith, then they could be like, maybe this is revenge from Griffith. Like maybe the assassination attempt from Count Julius was revenge from the assassination attempt on Griffith. You know what I mean? If you put two and two together, right? So that could be the situation. But, they think it's a robber though. They think it's a robber, which means, when they tell the king and they tell other people in the kingdom, like, yeah, Julius was assassinated in a botched robbery attempt. So, they just gonna think it was a robber. So that couldn't work for Griffith and the Band of the Hawk. So we see the dead bodies of Adonis and Count Julius. Count Julius laying in a puddle of blood. Adonis laying on that wall he was stabbed on. And then we see the old servant of Count Julius, and he's looking at Adonis' dead body. And he says, in the end, not once did this boy get to make his father smile. Such a young child, how merciless. And then they say, Master Hassan. That's the guy's name, Master Hassan. So, yeah, that kind of sucks for the young man. He didn't do nothing. He was just wrong place, wrong time, man. That's tough. That's tough. Hassan says, find him. The robber, you will not let him leave this house alive. So we see Guts just hacking and slashing all these guards in this castle. I wonder why Guts didn't go like the way he came in, like go through that window in the chambers of Count Julius. Like he should have just exited that way, I would have thought. Because I know when Adonis came in the room, right, he stabbed Adonis, and so he moved from being in the room to the hallway. And then the guards came and he killed them, right? But he wasn't that far from the window he came in on. Then there was no body to, I guess, stop him, like from going back the way he came. So I don't know. So yeah, we see a hooded Guts hacking and slashing these guards. This time he's outside, so he made his way outside of this castle. And he's still hacking and slashing. I wonder, right? Like if he doesn't kill everybody, because I would think he can't kill all these guards, especially if he's just trying to escape. If they notice his sword, right? Because he's the only person carrying around a big sword. So even if he gets away and they don't see his face, he still carries around that same sword he's hacking and slashing all these guards with. And unless he kills all these guards, and none of them could identify him by his sword, you know. But if he leaves some of them alive, they might be able to identify him by his sword, I would think. He has a very unique sword. It's not the other sword, the bigger sword he gets later, but still a pretty big sword. So Guts seems to be on top of the wall, right? On top of the wall that you get with castles and walled cities. He's like on top of the wall, and we see some guys with crossbows shooting at Guts, and one catches Guts in the arm. And as Guts get shot in the arm by these archers, he also jumps down from the other side of the wall to make his escape. And you see him jump, like where he jumps from, there's like two trees. And he's falling down on these trees, like the branches. And then he falls and hits the ground. Or it looked like he kind of does a roll. Like he does a roll, and after hitting all these branches on the way down, and he eventually rolls to his feet. And then he looks and he sees like a sewer drainage gate. Like a old school sewer drainage gate. And yeah, so he takes notice. It's like in between these two bushes. Gut says a sewer, and then we see some silhouettes of some guards trying to find him, and they say, "Find him. He fell over there." So Guts kicks open the bars of the sewer. And then he falls into the sewer. And then we kind of start cutting. It looked like his eyes are starting to close. All right, so we get kind of a flashback. We cut to like a flashback where we see Guts training with Gambino, and he's thinking, the sound of swords clashing, that's Gambino. And we see a young Guts sword fighting with Gambino. And Guts is thinking, right, I was always desperate, always trying to get you to appreciate me. So, all right, and then we see the shadow of, like a beastly shadow behind Guts in this flashback. I already kind of tell by the silhouette that, I see those horns. I'm like, don't tell me this is Zod. Don't tell me this is Zod. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of why, think we see this flashback of Guts talking about he was desperate, trying to get Gambino to appreciate him, and this comes from after he kills this young boy, the son of Count, right? The son of Count Julius. And we got Hassan talking about, oh, this boy he never got a chance to see his father smile. Like, he was never able to make his father smile. And it just kind of mirrors, like, Guts was fighting for the approval of his quote unquote father, kind of like young Adonis. He was trying to fight for his approval of his father, Count Julius. So yeah, man, I think Guts was able to really relate to this this kid. So it kind of sucked for him to kill the boy, to kill him. Now we see this big old brutish body of Zod in his demon form standing over Guts and Gambino. It's a full page spread. Man, that man Zod gonna be living rent free in Guts' head for a minute. So now we see Zod swing his sword, that little curved sword that he had, in his like his humanoid form, and he swings it and he cuts off Gambino's head right in front of young Guts, and we see Guts tearing up, and he runs towards Zod and he says, "Stop! Stop!" So this is like a little dream like sequence going on with Guts, Gambino, and Zod. So then we see Zod's sword impale this young Guts right in the middle of the chest, right in the stomach. Not even his chest, his stomach more so. And then we see Gus's eyes go white and he falls to the ground like he was dead. And we hear Zod laugh and he says, "Ha ha 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 ha." Now we get a clear image of Zod's face in this dreamlike sequence. And he actually looked like Guts. Like Zod looked like Guts right here. Like at first it was a little hard to tell, but I could tell by like that cut on Guts' nose. That same cut that he got from who did he get that from? Was it Griffith? I think he got that cut from Griffith. I'm not sure who he got that cut from. So all right, so we fade away from this dreamlike sequence back into the sewer that Guts is in. And we see Guts kind of like laying down. It look like he's laying down on like a log or something. It's like a log he's laying down. We see it's almost like a stream of water in the sewer. Bunch of different other tunnels we see. So Guts gets back up and he coughs in his hand and he's just coughing up blood. And then he he like clutching his sword like by the blade while it's like kind of leaning on him. And then he coughs into his hand and we see like this blood in his hand. And he seems to be bleeding from his head. So I guess when he jumps into the sewer, he falls and hits his head. I think that's why we end up going into this dreamlike sequence with Gambino and Zod. Because he looks like he has a concussion. Guts definitely looks like he has some sort of concussion. Right? And then he walks down this sewer corridor, and the surroundings just start blacking out to where you just see the corridor he's walking through. So we get a shot of this kingdom or the city, right? And we cut to what seems to be a bar or like a pub, right? Where, we got the band of the Hawk. Like we see Casca, Corka, Judo, Rickard, and Pippin. Hey man, I'm starting to remember their names now. I'm starting to remember all their names. We see them sitting around on this table drinking. And Corka says, "Ah man, I bet right now Griffith's eating good stuff at the prince's dinner party. It sure has its perks, being a knight commander." All right, so I suppose Griffith is at some dinner party with the princess. Hey man, that's what's up, man. Griffith getting in there. He getting in there with all the nobles and stuff. He's moving up, man. He moving up in the world. So that mean that the rest of the crew, they moving up too. We see Pippin eating this big old turkey thigh or chicken thigh or whatever, or chicken leg, not thigh, chicken leg, like a drumstick. He's eating like this big ass drumstick, and Judah's next to him, drinking. He says, "I'm sure it's just stiff up there." And then Casca's just watching. And then Ricker says, "That reminds me, where's Guts? I haven't seen him since this morning." And then Corker says, "Feh, he's probably just practicing with his sword alone again as usual." And then Judo says, "He's just goofing off. His unit and mine were supposed to have a joint practice today." Or is that Casca? I think Casca says that. Casca says that. And then Judo says, now. And then Casca says, "And without any warning, he just..." And then we see the doors to this pub open, and we see Guts in the doorway. And Corker says, "Hey, give me that." Talking to Rickard. And then Rickard says, "No, I got it for myself." And we see Casca looking on at her future hubby. Hey, we know it, man. We know it. I didn't have to read this. I know that Casca and Guts is gonna have a little thing, a little fling later. I can sense it. I can sense it. I can sense it. I can sense it through the writing. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I seen some stuff. I seen a picture where they was cuddled up. It was on one of the cover pages. It's not like I spoiled myself. It was on the cover page where we got Guts and Casca under a tree. So come on now. We know this. And then we got Casca shocked that she sees Guts. So we see a worn out Guts, like a beaten down Guts in the doorway. His eyes look almost like lifeless. They look like he's almost partially dead. Is that even a good idea though? Is that even a good idea to be going to the pub? Like, I feel as though Guts should be lying low, right? He should be lying low a little bit, clean himself up, because he just goes to the pub after he done killed a very important individual, right? So I'm pretty sure they're going to have the city on high alert, right? They're going to have the town on high alert. Like Hassan, he'd be like, "Hey, we need to, go to the king about this, or put an APB out on this killer, this robber, right?" So, and we got Guts who looked like he was just in the middle of a fight at just some public pub, right? Just a public pub, and looked like he's just been in a big fight, has this big sword. So I think he would be a little easy to identify if they put a APB out on him and the town is looking for a guy in a hood with a hood and a big sword who looked like he was just fighting. And even if they don't do it now, like let's say they don't check this pub now, right? Let's say tomorrow they're like doing their investigation. They'll probably go to that pub and say, "Hey, have you seen a suspicious guy?" Right? Have you seen a suspicious guy with a big sword? Last night, it was a guy walked into the pub, big ass sword, looked like he was just beating up, and looked like he was just in the fight. Just saying, it's not a good look. Like, he could at least went to clean up first before you show your face in public. Just saying. And Casca says Guts, and then we see Corker says, "Huh?" And then Judo says, "Oh." And we see Corker trying to eat Rickard's food, and Ricker said, cut it out. All right, so we see Casca going towards Guts, and she says, Guts, where have you been all day? It's been a rough day thanks to you. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe this could be a separate day. Maybe this could be the next day, which I still think it would fall against Guts, but it could be a different day. But Casca says, it's been a rough day thanks to you. And why do you look like that? Did you fall in the moat or something? I mean, I guess that could be like a justification of why he looked like that. Like he had an accident, fell into the moat. I mean, I guess that could be an alibi, right? Like if people ask, like, "Hey, why'd you look all beat up when you came into the pub last night?" Oh man, I was out and I fell down I fell into the moat or something. I don't know. But Gut says Griffith. And Casca says, "Eh?" And then he says, "Where's Griffith?" The Casca says Griffith is at a dinner party hosted by Princess Charlotte at Promrose. And then Gus says, all right. And then Casca says, hey, I wasn't finna. And then she like notices something. I think she notices something. Guts says, or we see Guts walking out of the pub and you see his wound on his left arm. And Casca's thinking, that's an arrow wound. And then Rickard says, hey, what's with Guts? And then we see this big mansion. It's like a big mansion with big bushes. And you see the stairways leading up to like a fountain. And Guts is walking up the stairways and you see a guy come out of nowhere. I don't know if this is a good idea, bro. To be looking the way you do after you just killed Julius, going to like the princess place where there's probably gonna be a lot of other notable people. Bro, he's this I'm just saying, this ain't smart, bro. This ain't smart, Guts. What are you doing? So we see somebody walk past the fountain, or they're like walking in front of the fountain. So Guts notices the person. He says, Griffith. And then he looks in shock. And then we see Griffith with the princess laying that Mac Daddy game in front of this water fountain where we got like a mermaid with her things out, you know what I'm saying? Her things out. And then we see a bunch of dolphins shooting out water. A bunch of dolphins with sharp teeth. And that is Assassin Chapter 4, The End. Man, I mean, hey, that was a interesting chapter. It was a good chapter. We start off with where we left off last chapter with Guts killing Adonis, the son of Count Julius, and we could see kind of the regret in Guts' face as he did this. You know, like he feels for the young man, right? And I think part of the reason why he feels for him is because he can see himself in the boy, right? We seen it a little later in the chapter because after Guts kills Adonis and he kills a couple guards and he makes his escape. After making his escape out of the castle, he goes into a sewer, which I think when he jumps into the sewer, he falls down and hits his head and he's unconscious for a bit because we see somewhat of a dreamlike sequence of him training with Gambino as a kid, and he's thinking like he thinks to himself like, hey, I've always been trying to impress Gambino, been trying to gain his acceptance. Like I was desperate to gain Gambino's acceptance. And it kind of mirrors young Adonis, right? Because we seen Hassan over Adonis's corpse, and he says all he ever wanted to do was make his father smile. Like he never got a chance to make his father smile. Kind of saying like he just wanted acceptance from his dad. Similar to Guts wanting his acceptance from his dad. And so in this dreamlike sequence with Guts training with Gambino, we see Zod show up. And we don't never get a good, clear view of Zod's face, but he decapitates Gambino, and then he kills young Guts, and then we finally get a clear shot of Zod's face, which looks like Guts, right? We see like that scar that's on Guts's nose on Zod and his face, the sharp teeth and everything. So yeah, so eventually Guts wakes up in this sewer and his head is bleeding. You know, he got an arrow in him. So it's like he just has to make his escape from this sewer. And then after eventually making his escape from the sewer, we cut to a bar where we see the band of the Hawk. There's Casca, Korka, Rickard, Pippin, and Judo, right? All at this bar talking about, hey, where's Guts? Casca says, Guts was supposed to train with me and my crew, or was supposed to train with my crew. She's upset about that Guts never made that. And as they're talking about Guts, guess who comes through the door? He doesn't really come through the door, but he opens the door and he's standing in the middle of the doorway. And Casca notices, she says Guts, and she goes to Guts to air her grievance of why Guts hasn't been around. Where have you been, Guts? You're supposed to train. You're causing all this stress for me and all that. But she notices Guts is like beaten up, and Guts is asking like, hey, where's Griffith? Where's Griffith? Where's Griffith? And she's like, hey, where were you? Where you been this whole time? And why do you look like that? Did you fall into a moat? Like, what's up with all this? And we see Judo show up, Rickard show up, and they eventually tell Guts that Griffith is with the princess at her little estate or whatever it is. And Guts was like, okay, thank you. And then he leaves, showing up at the princess's estate where we see this nice view of this big mansion, and the nice scenery and all that. Very well taken care of. I will say that the property is very well taken care of. We see this nice fountain with this mermaid and these dolphins, and Griffith walks out in front of the fountain, and Guts notices, he says, Griffith. And then the princess comes into the picture, and so we get a shot of Guts looking at Griffith and the princess. So I don't know if he's going to show up. I don't know if he's going to go to Griffith as he's talking to the princess. He might like just kind of stay back or leave and just decide to talk to Griffith later. But that's where we end the chapter. Great chapter. Really enjoyed it. Guts has become an assassin. Not a great one. He's not a great one because he had to kill a lot of people instead of killing the people he went for. But hey, he was doing a job that wasn't really suited for him. So it is what it is. But yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe. hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the chapter, your thoughts on my read through, or just your thoughts about Berserk in general. Just save any spoilers. Follow me on Twitch as well. Follow me on Twitch so you could catch me live and you can engage with me in real time as I read these chapters. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and make sure you join the Discord. Come be a part of my community. We talk about One Piece. We talk about Berserk. We talk about Chainsaw Man. We talk about Bleach. You know, the resurrection of Bleach. So yeah, make sure you become part of the Discord. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Blunt God, and I'm out of here. Peace.